All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. It is promptly 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to go ahead and get started. Before we get going on our topic, we're here to talk about end of year, new year prep and help for Church Windows accounting today. We're going to be here till 20 minutes after the hour, maybe 21 after. I'm going to end wherever I am at 21 after, and we'll wrap things up. If you have questions, please type those into the questions portion of the webinar control panel for me. I will do my best to keep an eye on those, try to get them, repeat them and answer those questions for you. Please keep the questions on the topic at hand, meaning specifically about the new year preparation or the new year opening of the new year for accounting specifically. We are having other webinars on other modules. Yesterday we had donations. Today's accounting. We'll have others in future, payroll, etc. We are recording today's webinar event. It will be available on the Support Center page at our website here, or not on our Support Center, right here under the New Year Prep and Help page sometime in the next few days or so, a week or 10 days. If you would like to see a version, basically a video or the document on the end of year procedure or the New Year Prep and Help for accounting, it can be found here under a New Year Prep and Help page right here. So if you go to supporting, you've got the menu here. It says New Year Prep and Help near the bottom. That then takes you to this page where we have all kinds of videos and documents specifically on the end of year procedures. On the left-hand side are our documents over here, and then over here on the right-hand side we've got the videos. So right here we've got the Accounting New Year Setup video, which I believe is, it is from an earlier version, but frankly, folks, this function has not changed in Church Windows in 10 years. So the video, regardless of your version, should still assist until we get the one out there. It's on version 18. Sorry, it's right here, version 18, that details that, okay? So even though we don't have the current video out there until, sometime here in future, you have at least the current videos or documents out there that will basically cover the same material. The document that I'm using for today's event is the one right here on the left-hand side, Accounting New Year Prep Steps. That is the exact document that I'm using as the basis for today's event. So if you're wanting that, you can visit the website and print that, okay? All right, so let's go back into accounting here. So right here we are showing our accounting year as January through December 2018. Before we actually go through the process of opening our new year, let's talk about a couple things about that specifically, okay? First of all, end of year procedure is kind of a misnomer with regards to Church Windows. We're not really ending the prior year in Church Windows accounting. We're opening the new year. So that document right there in that first couple of paragraphs talks about that. Is don't think of it so much as being finished with the prior year, but opening the new year. We want to get a jump on that new year to, do any changes or maintenance or cleaning up of our chart of accounts, getting our budget amounts entered, reworking things, reordering accounts, fixing subtotals, maybe deleting and adding new accounts. There's nothing that says that you can't do that right now, okay? I've opened the new year in accounting for half a dozen churches this week alone on support calls, okay? So, and we've had churches which have had the new year open for 2-3 months already, knowing that they can do this. And they're working between the 2 years for pretty much as long as they need, okay? So first and foremost, not closing the old year, but opening the new, okay? You don't want to be having to rush, getting to December 31st and then having to rush to get the new year open when there's absolutely no need to do that whatsoever, okay? So that is the first thing that we want to make clear, and that's really discussed in that document there, okay? The end of year procedure is what separates this year's chart of accounts from any other chart of accounts. So when we open the new year, all of those previous year accounting years that we have set up in the system and all of their accounts and transactions and everything else in the system are still retained, and they're there for reporting purposes. You can go back and run reports. You can certainly make changes. You can do whatever you need. but the history is preserved, and the next year's chart of accounts, while we copy it forward from the current year, until we change it or decide to set up something new, is going to be an exact duplicate of the current year's chart of accounts, okay? Can't stress enough the italicized portion of that at the very bottom of our first page of our New Year Prep and Help page. Before opening your new year, please make sure that all the invoices that have already been paid are actually marked as paid. And what that's referring to is when we go into pay bills and we go up here to quick pay and view outstanding bills, there could be a list of items that are sitting in here that you don't want to have here, okay? And I need to do some cleanup. I need to close out of accounting, folks. Let me relaunch that here real quick because I think there's something that needs to be fixed. We're going to go back into that. I'm just rebuilding the database. View outstanding bills. Oh, okay. So interesting. All right. This is still a situation that would have to be dealt with. But many times churches will close a year. There's a hard close function in accounting that we'll talk about here momentarily, where they'll close the year not looking at this. And then all of a sudden realize they've got a whole bunch of transactions in here, and frequently these transactions will have a zero account balance, implying that the bill was in fact paid. Okay? Well, in this case, we don't. We've got an account balance of $14.10 and an amount due of $14.10. It's still an issue we have to clean up before we're, just to ensure that all of our books are cleared out. So typically what we would do is we would go up to transactions, browse. I would go to change year, filter, and sort. Click clear all, check just my bill transactions, uncheck show paid, and click OK. And sure enough, there's my bill for Columbia Gas. Okay? So while what we've got is a bill here on January 15th for $14.10, when we click correct on that, it says the bill has not been marked as paid. Well, we're going to click mark as paid. And sure enough, we do have an EFT payment on that day. We've got still a balance in that vendor to worry about, but I would highlight that payment, click OK, save corrections, and it would say your corrections have been saved, and notice it clears that out of that list. Now when I go back to pay bills, quick pay, view outstanding bills, that bill is no longer showing up there, okay? So that's a very important step as part of the end of year procedure. This is particularly true and vitally important if you're going to utilize the hard close feature in the software. Okay, enough said about that. The process to opening the new year is very simple. We're on to page 2 now. When we go up to special functions, manage years, we choose the second one down that says set up new accounting year. You may want to make a backup of your data before you do this. We're not going to go into that today, but it might be something you want to do before you do that. But you go to set up new accounting year. We're going to confirm right up here at the very top that the button it's selecting is create new next accounting year, January through December 2019. By default, it wants to copy forward your chart of accounts from the prior year and your budget amounts. If you don't want to copy your budget amounts from 2018 into 19, you simply uncheck that box, and that will basically tell the system that none of our income and expenses are budgeted for the new year. However, I recommend doing it, leaving that checked. Why? Because, well, frankly, what if all your budget amounts don't change? What if, say, only 60% of your budget amounts change and the others are left alone? You saved yourself a fair amount of work. If not, you can always go in and change the budget amounts for any of the accounts regardless, one way or the other. If things are truly dire and you want to start the new year and set up a brand new chart of accounts, you can choose the create empty chart of accounts, where basically you're establishing a line in time between the end of 18 and the beginning of 19, where again, you're basically starting off with an entirely new clean slate. You would have to re-enter the chart of accounts entirely from scratch, okay? If that's something that you're thinking you want to do, we might suggest you maybe call us and speak with one of our technicians about that. That's a pretty drastic choice, but it is warranted sometimes if things are particularly bad. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to copy our current chart of accounts and our budget amounts, and you can, of course, create a prior accounting year too if you wish, but we're not here to do that. So we're just going to simply click OK. It does its gyrations here, and sure enough, notice now our accounting year shows at the opening window here, January through December 2019. Okay? So below that, creating the new year on page 2, it does talk about note. After opening the new year, this is really, really important, is you have to update your beginning balances for the new year from the old year. This is not a systematically run or performed operation, okay? So if I go up to Special Functions in 19, Manage Years, and choose the Update Beginning Balances button, it says, are you sure you want to update balances for January through December of 19 from 18? And we're going to click Yes on that. All that is doing is it is bringing forward our balance sheet totals as of what they are today to the new year. When those change, I have to remember to come into 19 and update those beginning balances again. Folks, you can update the beginning balances as many times as you wish. If I want to go in and update the beginning balances for 19 every day, I can do that multiple times. The system does not care. Okay? So, but it's really important that you do it at least one final time when you're finished with the prior year once and for all. Okay? And probably the most important portion or step of the end of year procedure is ensuring that you update your beginning balances at least one final time, if not regularly. Okay? Anytime you go back into the prior year and make changes, you have to remember to do that. Okay? So it tells us those balances were updated successfully. If I were to run the balance sheets for those two periods, beginning balances for 19 and ending balances for 18, right now they would show the same totals. Okay? Bottom of page 2 there. Special Functions, Manage Years. Right here we've got the Close Accounting Year function, prevents further changes to accounting. This is not a required step for Church Windows accounting. It is an option that your church may choose to do if they wish, but it is not a requirement of Church Windows, okay? It is simply something that's available for you should you decide to do it. If your folks aren't disciplined enough to know to not go back and make changes in the prior year, then it's perhaps something you may want to consider doing, okay? You simply click Close Accounting Year. It says, warning, you will not be able to add or change accounts, budgets, transactions if the year is closed. You choose the accounting year you want to close, and you simply click OK, and that year is done. There is no way that the accounting year can be reopened, okay? So please, this can be done at any time. So if you don't do it until June of 2019, again, Church Windows does not care, okay? Just don't do it too early, okay? In 19 also now, of course, as one of our preliminary steps and setup processes, we can go into budgets and budget, and you can go ahead and enter the new budgets or amend or edit those at will here under budgets, okay? You simply, click on the budget and budgets and budget icon there in the upper left, and it opens up our budget window. You simply check the boxes for the budgeted accounts, and then over here on the right-hand side, it allows you to enter it either as an annual, quarterly, or monthly budget for that account, okay? That's detailed, again, as part of that document, okay? But it literally is that simple. If we go, we're going to start budgeting loose offering income for this year in 19, we simply check that box. Notice over here on the right, it allows us to key in an annual budget amount. Maybe we receive $100 a month typically in loose offering, in the plate. Or I can go down to quarterly and I can edit those figures for the quarter, or down to monthly and edit them as I see fit, okay? If an account is not checked, it is not considered a budgeted account, okay? All right, so on page 3 there in the middle, it talks about budget projection. Once we've opened our new accounting year, you can ask Church Windows or ask accounting to project a budget for the new year based on percentages of either the prior year's actual or budgets. So we click OK on our exclusive access warning message. It begins to load our accounts, loading our budgets and accounts from the prior year. And then we notice here at the top it says income. Do we want to increase or decrease it by an across-the-board percent based on the prior year's budget or actual? And the same would be true for our expenses. Okay, and then simply you go, okay, income's been up, so we're going to say we're going to increase it based on last year's actual, and our current year's budget is going to decrease by 1% based on last year's budget amounts. And if I simply click View Projection, notice it goes right here. Here's our projected budget. Okay? And until I click Save and Close, those are not saved. But if I like those figures, I can save that, and that'll record those new budget amounts. Okay? And you know what? If I realize I made a mistake, all I have to do is come in here and just change those to 0 and 0 of last year's budget and just do View and Save, and it'll reset them back to the original budget amounts. Okay? At the bottom of page 3, it talks about working in the old and the new years. So we're just going to cancel out of that. So when I want to go back to 2018, which I can certainly do, I go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, change to another existing accounting year. I choose the desired year from the menu and simply click OK, and I'm now back in 2018 ready to work. Okay? The note at the bottom kind of talks about adding new accounts. You know, folks, if you're wanting to add new accounts in your new year, if you use the comparison, prior year comparison or previous year comparison fields on your columns on your treasurer's report or your balance sheet, it might benefit you to add those new accounts in the old year as well, so the system knows how to compare those, okay? Or has something to compare to for those new accounts, even if it's 0. It's an option. It's just a note, but that's something you may want to consider should you want to, okay? Changing the accounts is absolutely permissible, folks. Again, the chart of accounts can be changed from one year to the next. You just have to be aware what you may be changing with regards to things that you might be comparing across years. Okay, so the question is being asked, can I print the budget projection? That's a great question, Paul. Simply the answer is no. You can save it, go into your projection, then go in and print out something like your budget report for 2019, and that would be the way to print that, but the actual nothing can be printed from the budget projection screen itself. Good question. Changing the chart of accounts, folks. You can easily edit and change account numbers in any number of ways in the software. If I go up to Special Functions, Manage Year, or Change Account Number Structure, I can do it from here. Or you can go to Manage Accounts, into our chart of accounts. You can find an account. You can change the name here. You can change the number right here for accounts. You can go to the Tree View tab, right-click over an account, and choose Edit and change account names and numbers. There is lots and lots of flexibility for how the chart of accounts is changed or edited, okay? If you want to do, this is really handy, using the edit here or on the chart of accounts is really handy when you're wanting to edit just a few or a handful of accounts. If you're wanting to change a whole bunch of accounts or all of them, going up to Special Functions, change account number structure, clicking OK at the exclusive access and changing them here may be the better choice, okay? So go ahead and get this new year open, folks, because there's a lot you can get prepared so you're not, chasing the sun down to get your new year ready to work in. You can be ready to do that and enjoy your, Christmas with your family, relaxed without being stressed out about getting the new year open, okay? Do that as soon as you're ready to do that. If that's today, great. If it's next week, great. Just don't wait, okay? Finally, with about another minute here to go, it's really important that you look at your balance sheet. So if I go to Reports, Financial, and Balance Sheet, if I go to the columns here and make sure beginning balance is added, if I go to my Print button, we want to make sure that our total assets figure, let me zoom in a little bit here, total assets right here in the middle equals our total liabilities and fund balance figure at the very bottom of the report. It should always be that way, okay, right here, and they are, 1,764,171.36, and then in our year-to-date column, they're balanced as well. If they are not, and you're unsure what to do about that, we need you to call us, okay? Also, I would compare this balance sheet here that shows my beginning balances for 2019, and I would compare those to the year-to-date balance on my balance sheet through December of 18. I should see 1,764,171.36 on both in the year-to-date on the one and the beginning balance on the other. If they don't, you've got to update your beginning balances for the new year again. Okay? All right. It's gone. We're 20 minutes after. I don't see any other questions coming in. Again, folks, we're going to have this video out on the website. I'll give folks a few seconds here to type something in for me. If the webinar is concluded and you still have questions, of course, please maybe check the website, or please call us at 800-533-5227 and ask to speak with one of our support technicians, myself included. We're available and happy to help. I don't see anything coming in. I must have done a great job today. Hopefully I've been thorough enough for you. Again, and don't hesitate to visit the New Year Prep and Help page, folks. There's lots of information available and out there now. All right. Well, we really appreciate you attending the event today. We hope it's been helpful. Please check out the free online webinars page at our website now for our current list of events through the rest of November, and we'll be working on our December events. Once we get to December, folks, we will be taking the month of January off from our webinar events, as we typically do. It's our very busy month. So, get those webinar events in now, but the Support Center page will be available all year round, and we'll look forward to seeing everyone at a future Church Windows webinar event. I'm going to go ahead and end it for everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.